Hello everyone, my name is Maninder Melchizedek. Maninder means lot of minds and Melchizedek means peace. Usually, they say from their highest qualification and they go to the lowest qualification. But I just want to do it in a reverse way. I want to say about my lowest qualification and to my highest qualification. Basically, I'm an engineer specialized in electronics and communication. I don't know where the electronics went, but I took communication very seriously. That's the reason why I'm sitting before you as a soft skill trainer. To add on about my career, I started my journey as a software engineer and then I moved as an English content writer. Then I worked as a merchandising officer in an FMCG company. And finally, I worked as a training and development specialist in a well-known company. And currently, I work as an assistant vice president in Marticus Learning, training learners with soft skills to shape their personalities for successful careers. Time is one of the few resources that is equally distributed. Everyone gets 24 hours in a day, yet how we choose to spend those hours determines the difference between just being busy or truly being productive. This masterclass is designed to help you shift from time management to time mastery, a mindset where you don't just manage your schedule, but take intentional control of your energy, priorities, and focus. In this session, we'll explore practical tools, proven strategies, and real-life hacks that will help you eliminate distraction, prioritize effectively, maximize productivity without burnouts, and most importantly, create time for what truly matters. Whether you are a student, a professional, or a leader, mastering your time is the first step to mastering your life. Let's begin the journey from chaos to clarity, from distraction to direction. I am Maninder, and this is your Time Mastery Masterclass. In this session, we are going to deep dive and learn a lot of things about time management. First thing what we are going to learn is about the importance of time. And then we're going to learn about the Erik Erikson's 8 stages of psychosocial development. We're going to learn about time chart. We're going to learn about time matrix. We're going to also slightly learn about the SWOT analysis. So in this masterclass, there is going to be a package of all these strategies which will really help you to plan your time in a better way. But before that, we're going to play a very small game, an ice-breaking session, which will be useful for you to understand whether you're going to be able to manage time. All right, so shall we play a game right now? So this game is nothing but a very simple game. I'm going to give you some slogans, some famous slogans, and you're going to guess the brand or the company's name. That's it, very simple. So I'm going to give you 10 seconds for you to guess. Let's see whether you're going to get all it right. All right. So the first question here is, have it your way. Any guesses? It is Burger King. Let's go with the second slogan. Just do it. I know it's pretty easy. I think everybody would have guessed this one. So I'm not taking much of time here. So yes, it is Nike. The third slogan. You are in good hands. Any guesses? I'll give you the answer. The answer is Allstate. So the famous slogan, the fourth one is. The fourth slogan is finger licking good. I know it's a bit easy. Everybody would have guessed it. So it is KFC. The next slogan, slogan number 5. The art of performance. Any guesses? Something related to an automobile. It is Jaguar. Slogan number 6. Because you're worth it. Any guesses? It is L'Oreal. Slogan number 7. Drive your ambition. You can have a clue here. talk something about driving, something related to an automobile, maybe a bike or a car. Yes, it is Mitsubishi Motors. Slogan number 8. Save money, live better. Any idea? It is Walmart. Slogan number 9. Nothing is better than for thee than me. I'll give you a clue here, something related to an eatable item. People think that if I eat this, I might reduce weight. The answer is Quaker Oats. Slogan number 10. No one can eat just one. It comes in different flavors: blue, green, red, yellow. Any guesses? It is Lay's. Slogan number 11. The relentless pursuit of perfection. Any guesses? It is Lexus. Slogan number 12. We got you, baby. Obviously, it's going to be a baby product. Any guesses? It is Huggies. Slogan number 13. American by birth and rebel by choice. I mean, like, this is a dream for every boy to buy this particular product. It is Harley Davidson. Maybe for the last slogan, what I'll do is I will tell you the company's name, but you have to guess the slogan. BMW. Can you guess the slogan? The ultimate driving mission. All right. Now we're going into the second round. You have to find the correct logo here. Let me see how far your observation skill has worked. So I'm going to give you a logo, and there are going to be two options, out of which one is correct and another one is wrong. For example, this is the logo that I'm playing it. I mean, this is nothing but an Android logo, right? Which one is correct? Option A or option B? Let's go very fast. Option B is the right answer. Next one, option A or option B? It is Starbucks. So the first picture doesn't have a star and the second picture has a star. Is it A or B? The right option is A. Next one, Domino's. Is it A or B? The right option is B. Next one, Harry Potter, the boy who lived. It is a beautiful movie. I hope that you have watched all the parts. Now, give me the right answer. It is A or B. The right answer is B. Google. Don't Google it to find this answer. Is it A or B? The right answer is B. H&M, A or B? The right answer is A is the right answer. Nutella, A or B? Some of you are saying A, some of you are saying B. B is the right answer. A or B? Volkswagen, das Auto, A or B? The right option is A is the right option. And what is this? What brand is this? You call it as UCB, United Colors of Benetton. A or B? Yes, it is A. And this one, did you guess this brand? It is Louis Vuitton. A or B? It is B, right? Now, there's going to be a very famous personalities that are going to come here, and I'm going to give you clues. I'm going to give you 5 clues, and let me see whether you're going to find this personality within the minimum amount of clues, all right? So the first clue for the first personality. There is a flag there. Anybody wants to guess what flag is that? I'm going to go with the second clue here. Kolkata. Can you relate any famous personalities from Kolkata? The third clue here is a nun. Is there any correlation or relation between these 3 pictures? There is a flag, there is a Kolkata, and a nun's picture. And the fourth clue is a person who's been affected with leprosy. Can you join all the dots? And the last one is somebody is being awarded as the Nobel Peace Prize Award. So can you connect all the 5 clues and find out who this personality is? You want to know the answer? The answer is Mother Teresa. So the first flag is she's an Albanian. And the second picture represents she came from Albania to the ghetto of Kolkata and she served as a nun. That's the third picture. But what did she do there? She was cleaning the wounds of a leper. And that's why she was awarded as the Nobel Prize. Second personalities, right? First clue. Any guesses? Second clue. Anybody got this? Third clue. The fourth clue. And the final clue here. So what is the answer? It is Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Right? So the first clue is self-explanatory. The second clue is like he studied in MIT, he worked in DRDO, then in ISRO, and the last picture is our former President, Mr. Ramnath Kovind. So Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam was also a president. Right? So I hope you enjoyed this game about ice-breaking sessions. Now let's get into today's session. So today we're going to deal about a very important topic, which is the need of the hour, that is how to manage time. A lot of people, they think like they don't have enough time, but we have been equally distributed with 24 hours. The wise men, they know how to divide this equally and make use of it. So today we are going to discuss and we'll come to a lot of conclusions about how we can make use of the time. So when it comes to time management, there are a lot of people who doesn't know how to manage time, and they also don't have the importance of managing a time. They think like, why should I manage time? So there is not much of big importance that is being given, or I can say like there is not much of intent in a person to manage time. So that's the reason why they are not able to manage time at all. In today's session, we are going to learn about what is the importance of time, and I believe 75% of managing time gets over if you can understand what you mean by this importance of time. Second, we're going to learn about Erik Erikson's 8 stages of psychosocial development. And third, we're going to learn about how do we set goals, because if you don't set proper goals, you're just beating the air. You miss a lot of energy, you waste a lot of time. So if you can see and have a focus, right, a proper focus, I think that you can save a lot of time. And I will also teach you on how are we going to manage this time, how are we going to map the time, how are we spending our time till now, and how we can be able to spend this time in a much productive and an effective way. So we're going to learn about this SWOT analysis, we're going to learn about time matrix, we're going to learn about time chart, and finally some management tips on how to handle time. First and most importantly, you must know when you attend this session, what is going to be the outcome of it? The outcome of it is going to be an internal change in your mindset. I firmly believe that the greatest asset a person can have is their mindset. You change here, you change everywhere. But people fail to change their mindset or the way that they carry themselves. They don't like to change their attitude. So the first thing that I wanted to tell you that in my session, the more emphasis will be given to change your mindset here. All right. So that's going to be a big learning objective that you're going to have in today's session. And secondly, you're going to identify yourself. Where are you going wrong? Where am I lacking? So by changing a mindset, you're going to have a 360-degree shift and knowing about yourself and how are we going to effectively manage this time. Moving forward, I just wanted to reiterate about the value of time. If you want to know the value of 1 year, go ask a student who never cleared his UPSC exam. He will know the pain of it because he has to wait for another 1 more year to give it a shot. If you want to know the importance of a month, go ask a mother who has delivered a premature baby. The baby has to be kept in the incubator. The mother cannot have the baby in hand. So there is a little bit of process that goes on with that. If you want to know the importance of 1 week, go ask the editor of a newspaper or even people who edit, they spend a lot of time editing. If you're given another 1 more week, you could have got a much more decent output. If you want to know the importance of an hour, ask the lovers waiting to meet. I mean, that 1 hour, they think like it's going to be 1 year. If you want to know the importance of 1 minute, ask a person who just missed their flight. Just 1 minute, and they can see their flight flying up high in the sky. If you want to know the importance of 1 second, ask a person who missed an accident, whether it can be a bike or a car accident. And if you want to know the importance of 1 microsecond, go ask Usain Bolt, the fastest man on earth, 958, an athlete. I mean, we don't know the value of time, right? Time is something which is much more costlier than even money. If you are into finance also, they would have taught you about this power of compounding. I always encourage a lot of people to read a lot of books. If you read books like The Psychology of Money, right, it talks about the power of compounding. If you read books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, if you read books like The Power of Subconscious Mind, all right, all these books are worth it, right? You can read a lot of books. So time is something which is the most fundamental thing that a human being has to know how to use it. But unfortunately, there are a lot of people who are messing up with this time, and later it messes up even with their life. Now we'll talk about this even in detail. Now, if you look at an average lifespan of a human being, it accounts around 67 years. So maybe 67 to 70 years. We can keep it that way. The average lifespan of a human being is 70 years. In this 70 years, the first 30 years goes for education purposes as well as their marriage. All right. So out of 70, reduce 30. Now we have the remaining 40 years. Out of these 40 years, if you look at the last 10 years, the last 10 years are mostly spent for their medical treatment. They deal with a lot of health issues where their energy level will be very low, right? And they spend a lot of time in their loneliness. That is the last 10 years of a human being. The remaining 30 years, if we can multiply it with 365 days, right, you get around 10,950 days. In that 10,950 days, 950 days goes for traveling. You go for your vacation or you travel from your house to your office, right? 950 days goes for traveling. So remaining we have only 10,000 days. In that 10,000 days, 5,000 days goes for sleeping. Sleep is a very integral part of any human being, right? The maximum hours of sleep the minimum hours of sleep that one should have is around 8 hours. So 5,000 days goes for sleeping. And the remaining 5,000 days is what makes you your personality. How do you spend those 5,000 days? Tells you what type of a person you are. So there are a lot of famous personalities, right, who have been in this world. They know how to use those 5,000 days effectively. There are a lot of people like Napoleon Bonaparte. There are a lot of famous personalities like Indira Gandhi ji. They all, they slept only for 4 hours. I'm not telling you to sleep only for 4 hours, by the way. You can sleep for 8 hours. But keep in mind how time plays a very important role in becoming very successful. So I'm just going to play a small video here. So this explains about life in 30 seconds. All right. Please watch this video. So this is our life in 30 seconds. Now to understand this even more in depth, there is a psychology behind it. Erik Erikson's 8 stages of psychosocial development. I don't know how many of you watched this movie. There's one movie called as Basha by Rajinikanth. And in that there will be a song where life is divided into 8 stages. Now that song is derived from this theory. So Erik Erikson, what he is trying to say us is, he's dividing life into 8 parts. So if you can see it, there is an infant, and there is a toddler, there is a preschooler, a school-ager, an adolescent, a young adult, a middle age, and an older adult. All right. So what is he trying to say in this is, at each part of our life, there is a need. For example, you take an infant. The basic need for an infant is nothing but trust. When a baby cries, it needs the warmth of its mother. So when a father comes and picks up the baby says like, I never asked you, I asked for my mother, right? The baby needs the mother's warmth. So that is the basic trust or the basic need of an infant. Likewise, in each stage of a life, there is a need. Some they get it, some they don't get it. All right. So if you look at the stages here, maybe I think all of us who are watching this are like, have crossed your adolescent stage. You might be in your young adult or in your middle age, or even if you are in an adolescent year, right? You keep on changing your hairstyle here and there, because that is where we all look out for our identity. A lot of people who find their identity in their adolescent age, there are a lot of people who are still under role confusions. If you look at the young adult, what is the need of the hour for a young adult is intimacy. Some of them, they get a very good love life. Some of them, they don't get a love life. They are put into isolation. If you look at the middle age, some of them are very, very generative, which means they keep on growing, whether it be their personal life or their professional life. But there are some people who are under stagnation, right? They'll be in the same point of their life for a very, very long time. So, and when you come to the last part of it, that is the older adult, right? I mean, like you cross your 60 plus 65 at the end of your stage. You know, what this theory says is, when you turn back and see all your memories, your good memories, your bad memories, your school days, your college days, your days here in Marticus, I mean, like you turn back and you see, and if you say, give me another chance, I want to relive my life, which means my life is full of regrets. If you say, give me another chance, I want to relive my life, it means you have never lived your life. So what am I trying to say here is, at each part of our life, there are wise people who make use of their time. I have spoken to a lot of elders, right, in their late 40s and their 50s. You know what they say? They say, Maninder, if I would have done this in my teenage, or if I would have done this in my young adult stage, I would have been a totally different person. Right? Entirely a different person. But they are not able to do it. They regret it a little bit later. So if a person can be able to handle this particular time in whatever stages of their life, I mean, they are on the pathway to success. All right? And when you turn back and you see, and you feel like, I have done some good things, I have done some bad things, there are no regrets for me, it means you have lived your life. So Erik Erikson says, how do you utilize this time at each part or each stages of our life? That is very, very crucial. There can be a lot of exceptions. For example, the founder of KFC, he was successful in his late 60s. There are a lot of exceptions. But just because it worked for him, it doesn't mean it will work for you. Just because it works for Google, it doesn't mean it will work for you. So exceptions are exceptions, but a wise man or a woman will always make use of his or her time. Moving on, we are going to see something about goal setting and planning. A lot of people who waste time, why? Because they don't know how to set this goal, or why should I set this goal? All right. We all set goals to become successful in life, right? But you know why there are a lot of people who know that they want to be successful, but they don't set their goals? There are a lot of reasons for it. How many of you have taken New Year resolutions? And how many of you have done that? Just take a minute, pause yourself, or question yourself, how many New Year resolutions have I taken? And how many have I fulfilled? Think about it. I know a lot of my friends, they take a lot of New Year resolutions on December 31st with a lot of mindset, and they miserably fail. Maybe they follow it till maybe first 2 weeks of January, but after that, they never follow it. There are a lot of people who take a lot of long-term goals. There are a lot of people who take a lot of short-term goals. But today, I'm going to tell you about another goal, which is nothing but weekly goals. When we're getting into long-term goals or short-term goals, what happens is it is easy to get frustrated. So let's not get into long-term goals or short-term goals, but let's get into a weekly goal and I'll tell you how to do it. But before that, let's see why there are a lot of people who are not even able to set goals. You know why there are people who are not able to set goals? They're not able to set goals. Why? Because the first thing is they have a pessimistic attitude, right? So they say like, even if I set goal, I don't know whether I'm going to do it or not. That is a very pessimistic or a negative attitude. A lot of people have this, all right? The second reason why they don't set goal is they have this fear of failure. So they are not confident enough in getting to their goals, but they all think about is the negative side of it, right? So they keep on failing. They have this fear of failure. And another important thing why they don't set goal is they have low self-esteem, right? They think less about themselves. They don't see the brighter side about themselves. They see a very lesser side about themselves. And there is no intent at all. They lack a lot of ambition here. The other side, they really don't know, or ignorance plays a vital part. Why? Because they are not able to set goals. They are not aware of this goal setting. They are not aware of how to set goals or how to get the best make of time by setting goals. They don't have any of this. I just want to say some example here, some real-time examples, because I don't want to take this in a very theoretical way, but on a very practical way. Hope you can see my screen here. I'm talking about a very famous personality called as Terry Fox. All right. I hope you can see my screen about Terry Fox. That is the Marathon of Hope. All right. Just give me a second. Now, are you able to see the screen about the Marathon of Hope, Terry Fox? I don't know how many of you heard about this great personality, but I will tell you about Terry Fox. All right, Terry Fox is a Canadian, and he is a basketball player. In his 18 years, when he was 18 years old, he was met with an accident and later he was diagnosed with a bone cancer. How does a cancer patient feel? For example, when, suppose, it will not happen, but I'm just saying, you go for a checkup and your doctor says like you've been diagnosed with cancer. How do you react or how do you respond? Look at your mindset. There'll be a bit of shake that happens in our mind. All right, we'll be broken into pieces. But if you look at Terry Fox, he went through a 16 months of tough chemotherapy. I don't know how many of you can understand this process. Since my mother is a doctor, I have seen a lot of patients coming in pain, in agony, in the last stages of life, and how they react. Words cannot describe it. All right. But Terry Fox went through 16 months of tough chemotherapy. But he had a very different mindset, right? He had a very different mindset. You know what was the mindset? He said, I want to do something for a person who's similar to me, who's suffering from cancer right now. So what he did? He ran a marathon of hope. He ran with one leg to raise money for the cancer victims. And to my knowledge, I think this is the largest one-day fundraiser. All right? Think about it. A person who's been affected with cancer and now he's on a run of a marathon of hope. All right? He died in a very young, tender age. He died at the age of 23. The Canadian flag was lowered. The country honored him. His funeral was telecasted live on the television. His life was filmed, right? A lot of inspiration that we can take it from Terry Fox. I'm just telling you to look at the mindset of that particular athlete, all right? Where we have pessimistic mindsets, where we don't set goals at all, but look at, such kind of a personality who's been diagnosed with cancer and 16 months of chemotherapy, and now, right, he has done something which truly speaks about his mindset. He never blamed anybody. He never played the blame game, but rather he helped people who are suffering from cancer. Another personality that I wanted to add on is Mr. Nelson Mandela. Now, he fought for something called as apartheid. He lost his father when he was 9 years. He reared cows and goats and studied with that money. He studied law in London. The most important thing what Nelson Mandela sir did was he spent 27 years in jail. And when he was released, he was 71. Just think about it, right? He started to fight for the blacks. And look at his mindset. You're being sent to jail for 27 years for doing something good. After 80 years, Africans got the right to vote. I'm just talking about the mindset of certain people which will really imbibe the fire for you to set goals. All right. So today, Africans are being educated. They have their own business. All right. There is a different story all about that is written because of this one particular person called as Nelson Mandela. All right. So there are a lot of people who are still hesitating to set goals. You can see my screen now. Is time and success correlated? Now I'll ask you a very simple question and I'll give you a minute for you to think. Right? What is success according to you? If you can have a paper and a pen, quickly go grab a paper and a pen and just write, what is success according to you? I'll give you a minute time to think. I hope you're thinking. The greatest difficulty is for a person who doesn't think. I'll again repeat the question. What is success according to you? The reason why I'm asking you this question is, we all set goals to become successful in life. The time management that we are all talking is all about being very successful, right? You manage time successfully, you'll be successful. Very simple, all right? Now, did you answer that question? What is success according to you? All right. See, there are a lot of people who talk about success. But if you want to give a definition for success, success is very subjective and relative. Correct me if I'm wrong. Right? Success is very subjective and relative. What does it mean? It keeps on changing from person to person and it keeps on changing from time to time. Agree? So, if, for example, I'm telling you, you ask Mr. Vijay Amitraj, who was a famous tennis player who does commentary there for Wimbledon. He has represented India for Wimbledon. So there was a question which was asked to Mr. Vijay Amitraj in his early 30s. What is success according to you? And you know what was his reply? His reply was, of course, I need to win Wimbledon. Now he is past his 60s. Again, the same question was asked to Mr. Vijay Amitraj. What is success according to you? You know what he says? My son calls me daily. That is success according to me right now. Can you look at the shift there? So success is very subjective and relative. It keeps on changing from time to time. It keeps on changing from person to person. All right. Now, I read a book called as Sumo, which means shut up and move on, written by Paul McGee. Now, in this book, he talks about success. He talks about success and he divides success into 4 parameters. You know what are those parameters? The first parameter is career. So as I say, just think about your life and answer this question. Are you successful in your career life? Second is relationship. Are you successful in your relationship? Third, are you successful in your recreation? That is your physical health and your mental strength. And the fourth is your contribution, what you do towards the society. Now I'll explain all these 4 parameters in depth to understand whether we are successful or not. So folks, we were discussing about the different parameters for success according to Paul McGee in his book Sumo. Right? We're going to dive a little bit deep into it. So this book is called as Sumo, which means shut up and move on. Right? So in this book, he has defined success into 4 parameters. So the first one is your career. Why do you say career? Why? Because career denotes a lot of finance. It gives you a lot of money. It not only gives you money, but it also gives you identity. And most of the time that you spend is the time that you spend inside office. Almost 9 hours, right? 10 hours or 12 hours. So there are a lot of people who want to work 70 hours per week or 80 hours or 90 hours per week. All right. So most of the time that we spend inside the office. So my first question here is, are we successful in our career life? Just think and reflect about it. The second parameter is relationships. You know what? Goal setting also helps in improving your relationships. I'll tell you how. When I talk about relationship, it is about your family, the time that you spend with your family, right? Your friends, your close ones, or you can call them as the inner circle. Are you successful here in your relationships? Think about it. The first thing is career, which talks about your finance, your identity, and your time. And the second one is relationships, where you talk about your family, your friends, your inner circle. Here in this relationship, what is most important is peace is most important. Along with that, there is something called as priority. We will talk about this in detail when we discuss about the priority matrix. So when I talk about relationships and career, another word comes in. There's nothing but your work-life balance. I have seen a lot of people who are successful in their career life, but when it goes to relationship, they struggle. Or I have seen the vice versa also. There are a lot of people who are successful in their relationship, but when it goes to career, they struggle. Now this is what you call it as work-life balance. So how do you handle time in this work-life balance is very, 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 very important. So when I ask about relationship, and I also told you about priorities. For example, I'll ask you a very simple question, right? If you are a male, or if you are a boy, or if you are a husband, all right, whom do you prioritize a lot? Is it your wife, or is it your mother? Think about it. All right. And if you are a married woman, whom do you prioritize a lot? Is it your husband, or are you going to be the daddy's little princess? Is it going to be your father? Whom are you going to prioritize? You know what? There is an African principle which talks about leave and cleave. Getting it? Leave and cleave. Now, what does this leave and cleave says is, you know what? The most intimate relationship is between a husband and a wife, is between spouses. So the best advice that is given here is you and your partner, right? Close the circle. Never allow anybody to enter inside this particular circle. If you allow anybody to enter inside this particular circle, there can be a lot of chaos or there can be a lot of misunderstanding. So it is about your priority that you give. So the African principle says, like, after you get married, the priority has to change. So the priority has to be your wife. The priority has to be your husband. Now this is where the friction happens. All right. Now why am I talking about this when it comes to time management is, most of the time that you spend, right, with the right person, it will give you the right result. Very simple, my dear. So, for example, what do you mean by an effective communication or a right communication? Very simple. What do you mean by a right communication or an effective communication? Right words at the right time to the right person is called as effective communication or right communication. So this is what I am emphasizing a lot about. Right? Your timing also matters the most. So my second question is very simple. Are you successful in your relationship? Just think about yourself. And the third thing is recreation. Recreation talks about your physical and your mental strength. How many of us are physically fit? How many of us are mentally fit? Think about it. Are we physically fit? Are we mentally fit? Because physical health is very, very important. Without it, all this career or relationship or whatever, it doesn't happen the way it has to happen. Getting the point? So recreation means your physical and your mental fitness. Are we successful here? That's the question mark. Are we successful in our career? That's the big question mark. Are we successful in our relationship? Again, that's a big question mark. Are we successful in our recreation or our physical and our mental health? Again, a big question mark. And finally, contribution. What do you mean by contribution? Contribution is what you do towards the society so far. What have you done towards the society so far? Are you successful here? Think about it. Right? So, in his book, he has defined success in these 4 parameters. Now, let's take these 4 parameters and set goals. That's what I'm trying to say. All right. Now, how are we going to do this? Now, when we set goals, first of all, goals should be under SMART category. What do you mean by the SMART? I'll show it to you. I hope you're able to see my screen. SMART goals. All right. So when you set a goal, the goal should be first specific. You cannot set goals which are very generic. For example, there are a lot of people who set goals like, I want to read a book, I want to lose weight, I want to get a job. All these are very, very generic. So the first and the foremost thing is your goal should be very, very specific. All right. Secondly, M stands for measurable. Your goal should be measurable. Any goal which cannot be measured should not be set as a goal at all. Because the clarity of setting the goal is very, very low. I'll give you a very simple example. All right. This happens even in organizations, even in corporates. During the self-appraisal period, an employee would have scored around 4 out of 5. But when it goes to the manager would have given a score of 2 out of 5. All right. Now, when you look at the background of this, the target will be, for example, it's a sales employee. I'm just giving an example. The target is 1 crore, but the employee has reached around 80 lakhs. So this employee thinks that he or she has done a very good job and gives a score 4 out of 5. But when it goes to the manager says like he or she could have done even much more better. So I'm going to give 2 out of 5. Now, if you look at the goal setting here, there is no clarity in the goal. Now, if there is clarity, for example, if you achieve 1 crore, I will give you 5 on 5. If you achieve 90 lakhs, I will give you 4 on 5. If you achieve 85 lakhs, I will give you 3 on 5. If you achieve 80 lakhs, I will give you 2 on 5. And anything which is below, I'll give you 1 on 5. Now, this is where the clarity of the goal lies. Any goal which cannot be measured, it fails miserably. So, goals should be measurable. All right. Next thing is, goals should be attainable. There are a lot of people who set goals which is not realistic at all. For example, I want to shred around 20 kgs in a week, right? So if you visit the gym in the first week of January, you can see a lot of people with a lot of goals, very hyperactive goals, and the result is like they end up in an injury. All right? Goals are not realistic or goals are not attainable. They set goals which is very, very unrealistic and it cannot be attained. These kinds of goals should not be kept. Why? Because if you set goals like this, you become very miserable or you fail to lose interest in goal setting. All right. The next part is the goal should be relevant. Relevant means you need to have some desire for it. It has to be something related to you. All right. Don't keep goals which is not related to your fields or which you don't have any interest at. You should always have an interest towards it. All right. So even when you are searching for a job, a lot of people want to get a good job. Get a good job. But what is a good job? How do you define a good job? All right. Something which is more closely associated with you. So goals should be more relevant. And finally, the most important thing is it should be time bound. Any goal which doesn't have a deadline, I don't think you're going to end up doing that goal. All right. Deadlines are very, very important. So there are certain things in our life which doesn't have a deadline. For example, I'm giving you an assignment and I'm telling you submit it on the end of the month, right? Today is the start of the month. Now I know for sure most of you will never do it on that day itself. You will wait for some days and the days becomes weeks, right? So you will end up doing that work maybe on the 29th or even on the 30th. Now, I have marked a deadline for you, so that's the reason why you're able to complete it. Now, suppose if there are no deadlines, now what will you do? You will never do it. In life, there are certain things in our life that we know that we are not supposed to do this, but still we keep on doing it again and again. Why? Because there are no certain deadlines for it. Understand? So goals should come under this SMART category. So goals should be specific, right? It should be specific, it should be measurable, it should be attainable, it should be relevant, and it should be time bound. All right. Now what I'll do is I'll just give a simple, I'll set a simple goal and I will introduce a concept called as time chart and how can we implement this goal setting in time chart. So the goal that I'm going to set here is, again, how do I take it up? I'll go back here, right? If you are struggling in your career life, set a goal from your career. If you are struggling in your relationship, set a time where you can spend with that person to improve your relationship. If you are struggling with your physical and your mental health, now pick out anyone and set a time accordingly to improve your physical and your mental health. Or if you are struggling with the contribution that you have done towards the society so far, when I talk about contribution, it is like, for example, you can donate blood or you can visit an NGO, some charity works that you are trying to do, all right? So if you wanted to set a goal here, even you can set a goal here, all right? So now I'm going to pick out how am I going to set goals here. Now, for example, I am setting a goal on my physical health, right? So I'm setting a SMART goal here. How am I going to do? I'm saying I'm going to reduce 0.5 kgs in a week per week. All right. I'm going to reduce 0.5 kgs in a week. All right. Now let's see whether this comes under SMART. Now, is this specific? I'm not saying I'm going to reduce weight, right? I'm saying yes, I'm going to reduce 0.5 kg. Is it specific? Yes. Is it measurable? Every week, can I have a track on it? Yes, I can track whether I am reducing 0.5 kgs or I am putting another 0.5 kgs. All right, it is measurable. Third is, it is attainable. What do you think about this? Is it attainable? Reducing 0.5 kgs in a week? Think about it. If you feel like, sir, it's very difficult for me, then reduce it to 0.1 kgs. All right. So yes, it is attainable. All right. So if you reduce 0.5 kgs in a week, let's calculate this. All right. So if you're reducing 0.5 kgs in a week, so you're going to reduce 2 kgs in a month. If it is very difficult for you, maybe keep it like I'm going to reduce 1 kg in a month. All right. Because you should not set goals which is not attainable. All right. So according to me, I'm saying like, yes, it is attainable. Let me give a yes here. All right. Is it relevant? Yes. Desperately, I wanted to reduce my weight. All right. So it is relevant. And is it time bound? I'm saying yes, per week. Now this is why I always emphasize more on setting weekly goals. If you set long-term goals, I mean like you set resolution, what happens is you take resolutions on December 31st and you review it the next year. Instead of doing that, I'm encouraging you to set weekly goals and have a track of it. All right. So is it time bound? Yes, it is time bound. Now this comes under my SMART. Okay. This comes under my SMART technique. Now I'm going to introduce another tool called as time chart. Okay. Now let me share my screen. Hope you can see my screen. So this is called as time chart and weekly goals. Before I get into it, I want you to take a paper and a pen, split your time and your day like this. Okay, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, morning 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., 10 to 12, 12 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 6, 6 to 8. If you want to extend this, you can extend this even 8 to 10. All right. Some of them don't sleep around 10 o'clock. So you can extend it to even 10 to 12, 12 to 2, 2 to 4. Right? According to you. But I'll just keep it here. Okay. Now my first simple question is, on Monday, right? On Monday, morning 6 to 8, what will you do? Track it down. Right? I'm not asking you any rocket science question or something which is not even able to relate. Now, this is very, very simple. I'm just asking you, jot down, right? Take a paper and a pen and jot down. Maybe take last week. Last week, Monday morning, 6 to 8, what were you doing? 8 to 10, what were you doing? 10 to 12, what were you doing? 12 to 2, what were you doing? 2 to 4, 4 to 6, 6 to 8, 8 to 10. All right. Now, same with Tuesday. What were you doing on Tuesday? What were you doing on Wednesday? I'll give you a minute time, maybe, to just fill in at least for Monday. All right. I'll just give you a minute time to just write what were you doing last Monday. All right. So usually the responses that I get from learners are, you know what they do? Monday 6 to 8, they say sleep. All right. They'll sleep. Right. There are a lot of people who sleep even till 12 o'clock. Okay. So I'm just saying it. Okay. There are a lot of people who say sleep, sleep, sleep. Some they say sleep even to, 2 p.m., 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. All right. Some of them they say I'll go and, do exercise, right, or cooking, or I'll have my, breakfast. All right. 10 to 12. I'm just saying it, no? From what I've heard from the learner, I'm just saying it. So he'll say like, I'll go with my friends, right? Or video game. 12 to 2, take a nap. All right. Or lunch. Okay. 2 to 4, watch series or movies, right? 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. hang out with my friends. All right. 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. they say IPL. All right. Or again, watching some TV series. Or here they spend some time at least with their family. Right, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. they say dinner. All right. And after this, the Gorias, a lot of people, they have this trend of eating out around 10 p.m. to 12 p.m. So they gulp a big biryani there, bucket biryani. There are a lot of people who drink, tea 10 p.m. to 12 p.m. All right. In this 2 p.m. to 2 a.m., strictly for depression time, and they think about their future. I'm just talking very practically. All right. This is what I have learned from a lot of learners. And 2 a.m. to 4 a.m., trying to sleep. Right? Trying to sleep. All right. Here again, some of them have snacks, midnight snacks. Right. So this is how most of them, they have scheduled their time. Especially I'm talking about learners. I mean, people who are in the college. When you go to college, yes, obviously, your time will be fixed in your college. When you go to work spot, This 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. is fixed. This slot is very fixed. All right. So you look at, I ask them, what do you do in Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? They say, sir, repeat, sir. We'll do the same thing. And Saturday and Sunday, no comments. Because they get up only around 2 p.m. All right. Now I'll ask them a question. Can you be successful with this kind of a time chart? You know what they say? They say no. You know what I say? I say never. All right. You cannot be successful with such a kind of a time chart. Okay. I just wanted to, say one quote about John C. Maxwell, who's known for leadership skills and styles. He says, your success is found in your daily agenda. You show me what you do daily and I will tell you whether you will be successful or not. The bottom line is, how do you use time determines your success. Very simple. All right. Now, I will give you a practical example of how to set goals using this particular time chart. We were discussing a lot about time management and goal setting, and I also said a quote, your success lies on your daily agenda, by John C. Maxwell. So what he says is, give me what you do daily, give me your daily agenda, and I will tell you whether you will be successful or not. All right. So we have set up a goal on how to reduce, 0.5 kgs in a week. So that's been a goal that I've picked up from physical health. All right. So you can set a lot of goals related to this particular sumo book, whether you can set goals related to your career, you can set goals related to your relationship, you can set goals related to your mental health, or even to the contribution that you do towards the society, or anything that you wanted to set, you can set a goal. But make sure it falls under the SMART category, that the goal should be specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. All right. Now, for a working profession, I am going to block this particular time, because from 9 to 6, right, we are going to work for working professional. If you're not a working professional, you're going to have an ample amount of time. All right. Now, my goal is to reduce 0.5 kgs in a week. Now, what do I do here is, okay, morning 6 to 8, generally I sleep. Now, what am I going to do here? I'm going to remove the sleep and put exercise. All right. Or running or hitting the gym. All right. This is going to be my time chart now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do this regularly. All right. I'm going to do this regularly. And obviously then I'm going to go for work. Right. Work comes here from morning 9 to 6. So I'm going to tell you a real story which really happened. I was weighing around, around 1 or 3 kgs during the COVID times. All right. So I can talk a lot with the grip of the subject. And I wanted to desperately reduce my weight. And I set up this goal that I have to reduce 0.5 kgs in a week. All right. So what I did, I changed my timetable here from morning 6 to 8, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, without any cheat day. I have done this consistently. So in the first few months, I could see a drastic change. From 96, from 103, I came to 96 kgs. Almost around, how much? 7 kgs. All right. There was a loss in 7 kgs. And after that, I was doing the same thing, but still my weight was only 96 kgs. It didn't come down. And then later, I spoke to a concerned person who is a medico, and he advised me to do the same thing even in this 6 to 8 slot. All right. And you know what? Within 3 months, I shredded around 20 kgs. Getting the point? All right. So if you can overachieve, it is good. All right. But every week, I used to measure my weight. All right. So what I'm trying to say here is, you're just doing something in your daily routine. I mean, like you're changing something in your daily routine, which in turn is leading you to success. So once you set a goal, right? You set a goal, fix up a goal which should be under the SMART category, and choose a timing and you do it consistently. That's the key to success. So, for example, if you are struggling with, for example, your career, a lot of people who are struggling with your career. Now, what do? You choose up a course. You choose a course like CBOB, or you choose like PGA, right? Digital marketing, or cyber security, or full stack development. You choose a course. Now, the course runs for 4 hours. All right. So, if you look at here, for example, if your course timing is around 12 to 4, the time that you were taking a nap and lunch and you're watching your movies and your series, now it's going to change here. All right. So you put some course, or you put CBOB course, Certified Investment Banking Operation Professionals course. All right. And you do this regularly. Now what is happening? You are changing your daily patterns. Getting it? You are changing your daily patterns. Now, this is what you are marching towards success. I can vouch you that this particular time chart, which seems to be very simple, is more productive. Getting it? So the first, technique in handling time is first to measure what are you doing daily with your time. And secondly, you're going to change it. You're going to do some alteration that is making you to reach your goal. Getting it? So this is what you call it as the time chart. And another important thing here is, you're going to track this weekly. All right? It's not on monthly basis, or it is not on yearly basis. You're going to track this weekly, and if you have attained the goal, I want you to encourage yourself by gifting something to you. Right? That's a kind of a self-appreciation that you do, which will in turn make you to run for a very longer time. When I did this, I bought a shoe, which made me to think, or even if I look at a shoe right now, it makes me think like you can do much more better than this. All right. So this is what you call it as the time chart. All right. The next thing that what you're going to deal of is, hope you can see my screen. Right? So the next technique in handling time or managing time is what you call it as time matrix. So if you have the time chart, right, once your time chart is ready, try to segregate it into these 4 quadrants. Right? You already have done your time chart. That is what you're going to do from Monday to Friday and then your weekends. All right. Now try to put that under this particular matrix. What is that matrix? It's very simple. First thing is important and urgent. Second thing is important but not urgent. Third thing is, it is not important but it is urgent. And the fourth thing is, it is not important and it is not urgent. All right. Now, if you go and look back about your time chart, about a learner that I was talking, right? So most of them, they come under this not important and not urgent. So most of the time that we are wasting on is because of this particular not important and not urgent quadrant. We call this as a Q4 quadrant. This is Q1, this is Q2, this is Q3, and this is Q4 quadrant. So now we need to step up and think like, okay, most of the time that we are spending falls under the Q4 quadrant. What do you have to do it? You have to eliminate it or you have to delete it. Right? Very simple here. So this is the place where I want to touch a little bit even about procrastinating. All right, you keep on procrastinating. I mean, like, there's a lovely video by Tim Herbens in TEDx. The talk goes for around 15 to 16 minutes. If you have time, please watch it. It's a lovely video where Tim Urban talks about procrastination. But I just want to share with you the other side of procrastination. Like, why do we really procrastinate? Right? A little bit of touch of psychology so that you will know about what is really happening physiologically and psychologically inside us and why do we procrastinate. Our human body is being divided into 3. Right? Hope you can see my Word doc here. I'm going to explain this. Our human body, or you can call it as the Homo sapiens, right? We call human beings as Homo sapiens. That's the scientific word. So human being is being divided into 3. One is body, another one is soul, another one is spirit. All right. So what does the body comprises of? The body comprises of 5 senses. All right. You know what are those 5 senses? And what does the soul comprises of? The soul comprises of emotions. And another component of a soul is willpower. All right. Based on these emotions only, I believe even the leadership style also differs. For example, you take Hitler. Hitler is a very autocratic leader. But if you take Gandhiji, he's a visionary leader. All right. So what does Hitler say? What I say, you do. That's it. That's an autocratic leadership which depends on his emotions. What do you mean by visionary leader? Now, if you ask Gandhiji, he says, we are going to get freedom through ahimsa, that is through non-violence. How is it possible? Do or die. That is his kind of emotion. So, how well do you handle this emotion also directly says about your leadership roles. All right. When it comes to the spirit, the major component of the spirit is what you call it as conscience. And another one is intuitions. All right. Intuitions. So, why do we procrastinate? Or let me ask this question in a different way. There are certain things that I want to do, but I don't do all those things. There are certain things which are forbidden, but I keep on doing those things again and again and again. For example, if you look at the Quadrant 4, there are a lot of people who are watching reels, social media. They keep on watching it again and again and again. Maybe a kind of a dopamine crash that they have. But why are they doing it again and again and again? They know there are certain things that they ought to do. For example, they want to study or they want to go for work, but still they don't do it, but they keep on doing the things that they don't like, or they keep on procrastinating. All right. We will get an answer from a psychological point of view rather than a theoretical point of view. All right. So the human being has been divided into 3, that is body, soul, and spirit. The body comprises of 5 senses. The soul has emotions and willpower, and the spirit has conscience and intuitions. All right. So the body is always world conscious. All right. The body is always world conscious. What do you mean by world conscious? It always compares. All right. It always compares. For example, you're wearing a Nike t-shirt, I'll wear a Puma t-shirt. That is nothing but Puma. All right. Look at her nose. No, it is so sharp. Look at my nose, it's so blunt. Look at her color, she's so fair. Look at my color, I'm so black. I mean, you keep on comparing. Look at his salary. He gets around 7 lakhs per annum. I need to get around 10 lakhs per annum. So as long as we are there in the body compares. That is what we call it as the world conscious. If you look at the soul where emotions is the integral part of the soul, it is referred to self-conscious. All right, you take care of yourself so much. For example, you just light a candle and touch the tip of that flame. You can see the reflex so quick. You know why? You love yourself so much. That's called as, even you call it as self-love. All right, you touch the flame and you let your finger burn. Something is fundamentally wrong with your emotions. All right, so the soul is always self-conscious, and the spirit is always, you call it as the good conscious. All right, it's called as the good conscious here. So what do you mean by conscience? Conscience is like, for example, today I've planned to do something wrong, which I've never done. So as I'm nearing that act, there is an alarm in my heart which keeps on saying like, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Now what we all do, we shut that alarm and we do it. Once we do it, we enter inside the guilt cycle. Getting the point? We enter inside the guilt cycle. All right. So the reason why we keep on procrastinating a lot of things is, you know what? When the body says a big yes, the spirit will always say a big no. When the spirit says a big yes, the body will always say a big no. The body and the spirit is always contradictory. So, now where we are in the middle. Right? If the soul supports the body, I am suppressing the spirit. If the soul supports the spirit, I am suppressing the body. All right. For example, the body says, let's do this after a long time. I mean, like, why do you want to do it right now? Let's procrastinate. Let's postpone it. But the spirit says, no, 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 you have to do it right now because it is the time. It is a need of the hour, man. You have to do it. Now, what happens is, if your soul supports the body, right, you keep on procrastinating. But if the soul supports the spirit, you don't procrastinate. You do it right now. This is where all your mindset lies about. Maybe for another name for soul, you can give it as the mind. That's why I always say, the greatest asset a person can carry is their mindset. Or another way, if you are able to handle your emotions well, managing time also becomes very easy. Or I can rephrase this. If you can handle your mind, or you can tune your mind in such a way that your body listens to you, right? It will be easier for you to handle time, which will in turn lead to success. Right? So coming back here, as we were talking about the time matrix, so this is the way why people keep on, procrastinating here. All right? So you need to eliminate which is not important and which is not urgent. All right? So what is important and what is urgent, please do it first. All right? What is important but it is not urgent, what do you do with? You can schedule it. All right? You can do it a little bit later, but schedule it. You can even block your calendars for it. I will teach you how to do it also. Right? If it is not important, but it is urgent, what you can do, you can delegate the work. Now be very cautious here when you delegate the work. There are a lot of people, they delegate work, but they don't delegate work along with power also. Sometimes in corporate life, you need to delegate work along with certain power so that the work can be done more effectively. All right. There are a lot of people, what they do is, they delegate the work that they really don't know how to handle. That is also a big blunder. So one should know when to delegate, how to delegate, to whom to delegate. All right. There is a big theory behind it. I will tell you in a very short way on how one can, delegate works. I'll just show you a very simple chart. So when do you delegate is, first thing is you need to direct them. You need to tell them whenever you hand over your work. All right. So first is like you are more of directing them what to do, what not to do. That is the first thing. Secondly, what you do, you show them. That is something related to coaching. All right. You coach them, like how a football coach mentors or how a cricket coach mentors. So there is a lot of mentorship that happens in the second phase. And in the third phase, you make them to try it. There can be a lot of trial and error methods. They can fail, they can, succeed. So it is like a trial and error method. So let them try. That is the third phase. And the fourth phase is where you leave them and they take the legacy. All right. So you should know when to delegate. So you cannot delegate works which is something which you cannot do to your subordinates. All right. So delegation of work means the work has to be done in a proper time as well as in a very productive way. So you have to be a little cautious when you delegate. And another reason why people don't delegate is they don't know how to delegate. And secondly is they feel very insecure to delegate certain works. All right. So a good leader always delegates the work effectively. Coming back to our time matrix here, I will show you an example of how your priorities can be handled properly. Actually, this is one technique which has been taken from a book written by Stephen Covey. Stephen Covey wrote a book about how effective people use their time. So this is one habit of highly effective people who are successful. They use this particular tool in prioritizing their works. All right. A simple example to show you is this is how, as a trainer, we have a lot of works. All right. So we have classes, we have one-to-one mentorships, we need to evaluate students' assignments, right? We have regular meetings, we need to create contents, we do a lot of certification to upskill, all right? We have this masterclass recordings, all this goes on, right? A lot of work goes on. So what has to be done is you need to have a plan on prioritizing certain works. So which comes at the first, which comes at the second, which doesn't need any monitoring, or which should be eliminated, which should be scheduled, which should be done first, right? You should have an idea about it. Now, this is how the priority matrix happens. So I believe that this priority matrix happens based on one's own personality. All right. So what comes for Q4 for me, it doesn't mean that it will come for you. So I believe that Q4 is something where you spend a lot of time on your social medias or your Instagrams or your Facebook. But maybe for others, that can be Q1. And this is where the success ratio also differs. Are you getting the point? All right. So this is what you call it as the time matrix. All right. You prioritize. So you should know what is most important and what is urgent. You must be able to understand what is not important and what is not urgent. And along with this, I can even say something about the Pareto principle. All right. What does this Pareto principle say is, we all focus on that 20% which gives you 80% of the result. Just hold on. Let me just share my screen. All right. So this is what Pareto principle also says. So this was found by an Italian economist. His name is Wilfredo Pareto in 1906. So he observed his farm where there were a lot of crops, and one particular crop, I mean the 20% of that particular crop yields 80% of his productivity. So he felt, I mean, like, this is happening all over the world and I'm not aware of it. If you can closely watch even about what we are doing, right, there will be a lot of clothes in our wardrobe, but we often wear only the 20% of our clothes that is there in our wardrobe. All right. You can see even a company. In a company, there are a lot of employees, but if you closely watch, that 20% of that employee, they give 80% of the profit. All right. Or even if you take a simple mobile phone, you can see a lot of contacts on it. But do you use all the contacts? 20% of the contacts is what you are contacting, or that will give you success in life. All right. Even when you want to go for an sponsorship, you can see there are a lot of people who sponsor, but the 20% of the sponsors, they contribute around 80% of the total funding. So what Pareto is trying to say here is concentrate more on that 20%, which is going to give you a lot of returns. That is 80% of the yield depends on this 20% of your effort. So according to the time matrix also, what I'm trying to say is, if you can concentrate on what is most important and what is more urgent rather than concentrating your time on what is not important and not urgent, automatically you are on the pathway to success. All right, so far we were discussing about different time management strategies. We discussed about time matrix, we discussed about time chart, we discussed about Pareto principle, and now we are moving into another important strategy of time management, that is nothing but Pomodoro Technique. What do you mean by this Pomodoro Technique? It's very, very simple. It's like you have to choose a task and work on that task continuously for 25 minutes. And after 25 minutes, take a 5 minutes pause. And again, repeat the same. So it's like 25 minutes you're going to do a task, 5 minutes you're going to take a break, repeat. 25 minutes you're going to do the task, 5 minutes you're going to take a break, repeat. 25 minutes you're going to do the task, 5 minutes you're going to take a break, and repeat. 25 minutes you're going to do the task, and 5 minutes you're going to take the break. So it's like 4 times you're going to do this again and again, and this forms as the Pomodoro cycle. Now you can ask me like how this is going to become a very powerful tool. You know, when you do a task continuously for a very long time, what happens is your energy will get drained. So the important rule of this Pomodoro technique here is you have to take a break. So there are some people who can say like, sir, maybe I can concentrate more than 25 minutes. Yes, you are right. So what happens is you can change your Pomodoro cycle in such a way that, for example, if you can continuously work on a task for 45 minutes, then take 45 minutes and a 10 to 15 minutes break. So that will be the first Pomodoro cycle. So if you repeat it 4 times, it becomes a cycle again. So there is no hard and fast rule that you have to set 25 minutes. It depends on your potential and how far you can concentrate on a particular task. So the important thing here is when you take a break, in this 5 minutes break, you can do some stretching exercise, or you can watch even your favorite comedy scene, or you can go for a small walk, or you can dance, you can sing, or you can use the restroom, grab a snack for 5 minutes, drink some juice, all right, or you can admire the nature for 5 minutes. So the bottom line here is you are not supposed to think about the task in that 5 minutes. In that 5 minutes, you are only asked to relax and calm your mind, which will in turn give you the mental ability to go a little bit further. So this is a kind of a mental refreshment that prevents a lot of burnout. All right. And this is also enhancing you to focus on a particular task and also relax at the same time. Getting it? So this is what you call it as the Pomodoro Technique. A caution note here, please do not scroll your social media or get into your Instagram or Facebook, or don't use your mobile phones in that 5 minutes break, because that is considered to be the highest form of distraction. So never, take your mobile phones and browse, because that is not suggested in the Pomodoro cycle. All right. So how do we plan our calendar? How do we block our calendar? This is a real-time hack that I'm just going to teach you. It's nothing but blocking your Google Calendar. So it seems to be very simple, but it is very powerful. A lot of people have a lot of works, but only few will block their calendar. By blocking their calendar, it is a kind of a reminder for them to do the job. There are a lot of people who don't block their calendars. They have so much of to-do list, but they don't know when to do it and how to do it. So, it is always good that you can block your calendars, especially for emailing. Once you're coming into the corporate world, email etiquette plays a very important role. So usually managers, what they do is they block their calendar in the morning 9 to 10. That is only for emailing, right? You can have it as a recurring, thing also. That is every day morning 9 to 10, I use my time for emailing, right? Every day 4 to 4:30, I take break. I mean, like, you are making it more systematic. So you can use your Google calendars to block your schedules. This is a very wonderful way of reminding you the things that you have to do and scheduling it in the way that it has to be. Right. Finally, I'm going to talk about the SWOT here. Why do I involve SWOT into time management? That can be one of your questions. You know what? There are a lot of people build their career, or I can say waste their time on their weaknesses. There are a lot of people who build their career on their weaknesses and they waste a lot of time. But smart people, they build their career on their strength. There are two ways. All right. So it is always better for a person to find out their strengths and their weaknesses. For example, assume that I'm weak at maths. Now, if I want to become a maths professor, what I can teach you is, maybe I can teach you till 6th standard maths or till 10th standard maths. I can teach you sine theta divided by cos theta gives you tan theta. Or I can teach you a plus b the whole square is equal to a square plus b square plus 2ab. But if you ask me to teach integral calculus minus infinity to plus infinity, or d of x or d of y, I really don't know. I'm afraid. So what really happens is, even my growth is hindered. Why? Because I'm building my career on my weakness. Most of them waste their time building their career on their weakness. If you're watching this, make sure that you build your career on your strengths. All right. So this is what I wanted to tell you with SWOT. I'm not getting into the depth of SWOT. Maybe in another masterclass, I will get into the personal, SWOT analysis, how to find out your strengths, how to find out your weakness, what are your opportunities, and what are your threats. Right? But don't waste your time building your career on your weakness. After listening to all these things, this is the fact. So your expectation is you set a goal and you achieve it, but it doesn't happen that way. So obviously you have, highs and your lows, and struggle, a lot of, distractions, a lot of things are down the way. I mean, like, you set a goal, you start it,
and then you doubt yourself, then you learn, you fall miserably, then you keep on practicing, you have a feeling that you're lost. I mean, like there's a lot of struggle there, and finally you achieve this goal. So usually we have this mindset, no, when you set a goal, you have to achieve it. But the reality is, it is not that way. So this is why I always say that the never give up optimistic attitude is much needed in managing time. Right? Another important, maybe you can call it as a tip here. A lot of people wanted to be motivated to do something in their life or to accomplish a task. There is a lot of difference between getting motivated and having the right discipline. If you look at the picture here, motivation, it glows and it comes down. It's like a gas burner. You switch it on, right? It fires, you switch it off, and that's it, it comes down. But discipline is not like that. Discipline is one thing which it burns steadily. How do I define discipline is, whether you like it or not, you need to do it. All right. By doing this, your confidence level also increases. That is, the challenge which is kept before you, you are able to conquer it, and obviously your confidence level also goes up high. So don't always look for motivation. Let's tune our mind to be more disciplined. Right? Finally, some time management tips that I want to give you. There is one tip called as eat the frog. Eat the frog means try to do the most difficult job at the start. Right? That compromises that 20% of your work, which going to give you 80% of your profit, almost like the Pareto principle. So what is difficult for you, try to solve it at the start. So once you solve the difficult task, it's going to be easier for you to solve the other remaining tasks. So this is one principle called as eat the frog. And the second one is, I like this Nike quote, just do it. Whether you like it or not, just do it. All right. Let's not wait for somebody to push you to do this one. It's your job, your task. Fix your mindset, do it. And the third is like the widely important goal. So these are all some takeaways from the time matrix. So it is highlight or concentrate more on the quadrant 1. That is, which is most important and which is most urgent. All right. Always remember this, to concentrate on your quadrant 1, that is most important and most urgent. If you keep on doing these things, I'm for sure that you will definitely achieve your goals, and success is on your way. So I'm winding up for today. I hope this session would have helped you a lot when it comes to managing time. And if you have any queries, please put it down on the comment section and I'll be happy to take it up.